everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Rams House Podcast. Today, we are going to be making some final decisions on our free agency trade time period before we actually hit that in real life. Then we're going to be moving into draft options and seeing what we have to do to fill our needs in from there. I'm your host, Ethan, joined by my co-host, OJ, and Joe. I was thinking Will for some reason. No, Will's taking a little sabbatical right now. What's going on, guys?
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man?
Well, it's exciting, man. Not only is it exciting to kind of theory craft about reshaping the Rams roster this offseason, it's also an exciting time in the offseason. I mean, the Matthew Stafford trade talks are really heating up. See a lot of people out there saying that there's a higher likelihood than not that he gets traded, and it's getting pretty wild. Also pretty exciting, and depending on your outlook on it. We're going to be making decisions today about who we're going to trade, for what we're going to trade them, and then who we're going to be signing in free agency to kind of shape this Rams roster again. Now, we've discussed this a little bit. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're all kind of in agreement at this point where it currently stands to trade Matthew Stafford. Is that correct?
Yeah.
If we're talking about like what's preferable for the team,
Well, this is
I
our mock.
agree.
This is our mock
Yeah.
off season. It needs to
Yeah.
be realistic, but it's the decisions that we would make if we were running the front office.
yeah, I mean my opinion doesn't change from the last couple of weeks. I think I've already made the decision that it's best for us to move on from Stafford. I guess the simple reasonings is 37-year-old QB. He's on the decline, on the verge of retirement, and my main thing, to be honest with you, is the trade offers. I'll be honest with you, I don't think we'll be getting this type of return for Stafford if we do trade him in the future, because obviously
Yeah, for sure.
retirement, he's hinting at retirement. He could continue to decline, obviously age as well. I mean, that's the main thing for me. I think we have to take advantage of those opportunities. We talked about different scenarios last week, like signing Aaron Rodgers potentially to a 1 or 2 year deal and a cheap contract, potentially drafting QB this year, next year. If we do get a pick, an early pick, we could trade back. We trade forward, depending how the
Sure.
draft falls out. We'll discuss all
Can
that.
I Can I throw something? Let's talk about a little bit of the data, right? This is Matthew Stafford's contract right now, and all the
Yep.
reports that we're seeing right now is saying that Matthew Stafford wants more than $50 million a season, not in salary cap hit. He wants to be paid more than $50 million a season in actual physical money coming in. Now, I want to explain why this is important. The $12 million signing bonus that you see right here, this has already been paid to Matthew Stafford. It was paid as a signing bonus the moment he signed the contract. The restructure bonus was paid last year when he restructured his deal. The option bonus was also paid last year when he did a restructure of his deal, either last year or 2023. But in the last 2 years, these two quantities have been paid out. The part that hasn't been paid out yet is a $23 million base salary and the roster bonus, which I believe gets guaranteed on the third day of the 2025 league year. If you guys see it down here, which is going to be March 14th. I think the March 11th is the first day of the league year. Is that right?
Yeah,
I think it's around
I
there.
think so. Yeah, it's basically when free agency starts. I think.
Yeah. So I think 10th is the first day. It's a Monday, I think. So
It says tampering, but I mean, I guess it's that day,
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah. So it's middle of
Let
that
me
week.
double check.
Yeah.
Joe will find an exact number for us. But basically, realistically, we want to make a decision with Stafford really soon. Now, actually, you know what I was thinking about is this number might
March
not
12th.
this number might not actually be so the 15th.
Yeah, March 12th.
This number might not actually be correct. The release number, the trade number, because the roster bonus does travel to the new team as long as it has not yet been guaranteed and paid out. So this number that we're seeing here. That's why the trade. Oh no, that's why the trade number is different. But we have to trade him by the third day of the league year, the 15th. So for us, I think we've kind of come to an agreement. Joe, would you agree that it's just probably best if we trade him?
Yeah, based upon him winning that raise of 50 million, if he was if he was going to take a pay cut, then it'd be different. But if he wants more than 50 million,
Well, you know what? Let me. I didn't finish explaining that. You know what? That's a good point, Joe. Let me. So
I think you should explain it for
yeah.
everyone else
So
as well.
right now, basically, as things appear at this moment, if Matthew Stafford remains on the Rams, he'll be making $27 million in cash, and he wants to be making over $50 million in cash to play for the Rams next season. So what that means is that we have to give Matthew Stafford at least basically $25 million in extra money, which means that we either add $25 million to our cap hit this season and we go up to $75 million in cap for Matthew Stafford, or we spread that amount out over the course of 2026 and maybe some void years on 2027 and 2028. The Rams have already come out via Strager and Breer and a couple other, I think Shefty and Rappaport, all saying the Rams basically do not have any desire to push money forward. In fact, it was Strager who said the Rams did it last year and they're not going to do it again. So it's really looking likely like a split is coming. And you guys know Peter Strager is very well connected with the Rams, and he doesn't say stuff like that lightly. Now, no one wants to overblow it and say, oh, he's as good as gone, but they're all hinting at the fact that they're at an impasse right now that isn't going to either the Rams tack $25 million onto the cap hit this year, or they put it in future years, which they've already stated they're not going to do. I don't think they're going to do either of those things.
Because if you add another 25, 27, what you said, that almost smokes free agency.
It's just done.
You only have
free agency is
maybe you only have enough for maybe like a move or two or something, but you won't be able to really build what we need to build. Yeah.
Well, so here's an interesting thing as well. We don't want to add any additional money forward, but maybe we would do a post 6-1 trade. This is rare, but it does happen in situations exactly like this where the money is kind of a concern. And what would happen with that is we would take on $22 million dead cap for this season, which means nothing essentially for our overall cap space. We would take on $22 million for next year's cap, which is honestly, if you're going to take on some dead cap for next year's the year to do it, because you have Puka under contract, Whittington, Blake Corum, you have Avila still going to be under contract, Bo Limmer, you still have, all of our D-line basically still going to be under contract. You got Kid Kinchins. There's so much talent that's still under contract that doesn't need a raise in this period. So if you're going to take on a little extra dead cap, 2026 is the year to do it. And that would actually free up $27 million in 2025. Now, we've discussed this quite a bit. And what is it that we could do with that $27 million? Now, on top of the reports that have come out about the situation with Stafford, basically everyone has come out and clearly stated one thing. Aaron Rodgers wants to play for the LA Rams. That can't even be in question anymore. They've all said there's a guy living in Malibu by the name of Aaron Rodgers who wants to play for the LA Rams, would love to play there. And many of them have hinted at the fact that he's basically willing to play for almost nothing.
You know what? That's a good point. You could use that. You could roll over some of it, but you could also use a portion of it just to give to Aaron Rodgers instead of trying to touch the cap we have right now today. You could use a part of that what we get from Stafford, and then you could just get Aaron Rodgers later in the offseason, like in July.
On top of that, like we said, if we do pay the extra $27 million to Stafford, we said we can't make any extra free agency moves beside maybe a small one. We can actually go out and get some big names.
Well, so here's
big names. Some roster holes.
Here's a thought I have on the whole concept, right? Because it appears pretty. The Jets have already announced they're basically moving on from Rodgers, and they're moving on from Davante Adams. Okay, and Davante Adams and Rodgers have made it pretty well known they want to play together. And the Rams have also made it known that the issue that's happening with Cooper Kupp is kind of irreconcilable. They have no desire to bring Cooper Kupp back. Now, I think that's a mistake. I think Cooper Kupp would actually be really good with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has made a killing his whole career throwing to good slots, like Jordy Nelson, like Romeo Doubs. What was the other guy that was their slot? He went to the Texans. Randall Cobb. Yeah, he's made a killing with good. So, I would be ecstatic if we traded Matthew Stafford, signed Aaron Rodgers on the cheap, and then kept Cooper Kupp. But if Cooper Kupp has to go, then I would literally call Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers and say, hey, we're going to free up $27 million trading for Aaron Rodgers trading Matthew Stafford. We will bring both of you in if you guys will agree to be under that price tag together. That just make it super simple. If you could pick up Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams for $27 million, you got to do that, right? There's no questions asked.
I got a quick question real quick before I answer that. So when it's a post 6-1 June trade, when can you use that money? June 2nd?
No,
That's when you'll be able to use them in.
no. So the way that the cap works is that there's check-in dates that happen throughout the season where you have to be cap compliant
Mm-hmm.
by the date. You can go $100 million negative into the cap as long as by the cap checked-in date you're correct. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
finagling can be done pretty easily to make that work. So I wouldn't worry about the dates. That's probably a non-factor overall. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm just thinking about that though. It's I don't think there's a check-in. Just for the record, I don't think there's a check-in date until like the preseason, like a week or two before the season begins.
Okay. Okay. That's
So
cool.
we have
Yeah.
we have plenty of time. But you're talking about fixing the quarterback position and the receiver position. What you do in that scenario is you leave Puka where he's at right now. You put Devontae Adams at the X, and you put Jordan Whittington in at the slot. And obviously, all three of those guys can kind of rotate because they can all three play inside or outside. So there's a lot of movement that could occur there. But that's a really good receiving core. That's I mean, look, we can. I'll debate this in the comment section. Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback right now than Matthew Stafford is. I generally don't have any. I don't have any second thoughts about that. The film shows it. The statistics show it. Aaron Rodgers was in a much worse situation and was statistically better than Matthew Stafford last year. I mean, those are the facts. He had crazy pressure rates. His running game was awful, and his receiving core was second in the NFL in drop passes. Like it just didn't get much worse for as far as supporting cast go than Aaron Rodgers had last year, which is crazy because the talent is not bad. It just goes to show you the last point, which is that Aaron Rodgers' offensive scheme and system was total dog crap. You're talking about taking him
Yeah.
from one of the worst offensive schemes and systems in football to a top two offensive scheme in football.
Yeah.
So, for me, guys, you guys let me know if you agree. But this is a no brainer for me. I'm doing this, and from all the reports that we've heard, I think Aaron. Because in this case, you say, hey, Aaron, you get 10, Devontae, you get 17. You guys want to go for a championship for the end of your career? This is your opportunity.
Yeah, you can give him a 2-year deal and say, look,
Mm-hmm.
this year and next year we're gonna go for a Super Bowl. You guys to come into this young team, teach them what you guys know. Next year we're gonna get a quarterback in the draft or something like that.
Yeah.
And
This
a
year
deal
or
like
next
that.
year,
And
we're going to get a quarterback to,
yeah,
but we want you to help develop him, etc.
I mean,
mhm,
I feel I agree with the same thing. One thing I'll add on is also Rodgers will probably have a chip on his shoulder.
Oh
All the
my
talk,
gosh,
the
does he?
media is that oh he's washed, he's finished. He was the issue with the Jets. You're telling me a guy who's a Super Bowl champion, a four-time MVP, is gonna just let that slide? And with the type of like character that Rodgers is, I can easily see him being like, okay, you think I'm done? I'm gonna go to LA. I'm
Yes.
gonna prove you, and I'm gonna go win a Super Bowl.
So, but there's also a secondary chip, which is the legacy discussion.
Oh yeah, the
He
legacy as
needs a
well. I mean,
second championship to really be
if
in
we
that
talk
upper
about
echelon of quarterbacks.
if we talk about that Peyton Manning, Joe Montana tier,
Yep.
I'm not talking about Tom Brady because Tom Brady is already in soul
Or Mahomes.
or,
Yeah.
or Mahomes. But if we're talking about that tier, like the tier below, he needs another Super Bowl. One Super Bowl isn't going to cut it. Like
Yes.
he has to because he already has like the individual accolades, the MVPs, the Pro Bowls, all the other stuff, the stats. He's just missing that second Super Bowl.
There's no better chance for him to win Super Bowl than the LA Rams.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Honestly, I
yeah,
think it's a no-brainer for all parties involved. I think they both take it. Devontae seems like to me that he's ready to take a pay cut in order to win and play with Aaron because they really want to play together again. But you're talking about $27 million, 10 for Aaron. I mean, they've already said Aaron would pay for vet minimum, so $10 million is not crazy. And then Devontae gets 17. Say, hey guys, 2 years. We got 2 years to win a title. We have a great young defense. There's offensive pieces all around. I mean, I'd do it. I legitimately do it.
Honestly, I think it happens. The only thing that's hindering it, obviously, is whether Stafford gets traded or not. If he gets traded,
yeah,
I think that's the route. You get that bridge QB 2 years, and you're still a contender. You can still spend money in
Yep.
free agency. Obviously, try to hit on the draft, of course. And then after 2 years, whether if you want to draft a QB this year, if you don't, that's okay. It's fine. You can trade back in the draft or trade up, whatever it is, depending on how the draft falls. Or next season with a guy like potentially, I'm just putting out names there, Arch Manning, depending on how you use your
Yeah.
draft capital as well. If you do get a pick from Stafford, if you trade back, you try to get extra picks, and you keep it for next year. I know this is a bit of like just might be a bit of a reach, but it is possible.
Sure.
If you are smart with how you use your resources, there is an opportunity to get Arch Manning. That is a different discussion though, but yeah. Aaron Rodgers is a perfect fit for the
We'll
Rams.
worry about next season, but
Yeah,
for
Yeah.
so we're in agreement. Stafford's gone, right?
yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah, if I had to choose, yeah.
so
Yeah.
who are we? Who are we going to trade him to? Basically, like right now, it seems pretty clear the two
It's
options
3
are the
teams,
Giants
right? Yeah.
and the Raiders.
To me, it's the Raiders. I think that's going to be if he
I
does
don't
get
Oh
see
yeah,
traded. I think
the
the
Steelers, right? The
Browns
report
thing.
came
The
out.
Browns
Yeah.
thing seems far fetched to me. They have the number 2 pick. They could draft Cam Ward.
Yeah,
It
I
doesn't.
forgot the report came out the Steelers that they're not interested in paying Stafford upwards of
I
50
think
million. So, yeah.
so. There was an interesting quote by the GM of the Giants today. He was being interviewed at the combine, and they asked him about it, and he just said, "You'll have to talk to the Rams about that," which kind of infers that they've already made an offer.
Yeah.
And
Oh, go ahead.
no, I'm just wondering. Raiders are at 6, Giants are at 3. Probably both of them will require for us to give extra compensation. It's not going to be a Stafford
We
for
would
3 or
have to
6.
give
That's
our
nonsense.
we would have to give our 26th pick.
I
mean, that's
agree.
for sure.
I think we might be
Yeah.
able to get a little more. Like my thinking is either pick. We give 26. We give Stafford. Maybe we have a comp third this year from Raheem. So maybe we give our 26 Stafford and our third round pick for a first and a second. Whether this year's first and maybe next year's second. Or this year's second.
The
I
only
don't know.
reason, it's just that the third pick, I just can't get over them. I just don't think they give that pick up. I think it's too valuable for them as a franchise. But the reason I said Raiders is because to me, they're in the perfect position to compete next year. They have $92 million in cap space.
Yeah.
They have Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's not there for a rebuild. We all know that.
No.
He's 74 years old.
He's
He's not there for a rebuild.
He's there to establish a culture of winning, which is also
Right.
what Matthew Stafford would be useful for.
I'll be
So
honest with you.
think like, oh, go ahead.
No, I just want to quickly say, I'll be honest with you. Like, speaking of that point about like the trade with the Giants, I think the deal is there. I think the only thing that is stopping from happening is the Rams from saying yes. I think if the Rams say yes, it's done. It's a done deal. It's just the Rams are. I just feel like they're still waiting on making a decision. And you're speaking of like the second round pick. I think the Giants would do it because, like we said, the GM and the coach, they're on a time limit. They have to win this season. If they don't, even probably, let's say halfway through the season, if they have a losing record, they're probably going to get fired. So the Rams could easily pressure them and be like, look, you guys need to win now. Like, this is like a desperate like situation for you guys. Look, you guys give us the extra second. In the first, we'll give you Stafford, we'll give you the third, whatever it is, in the first. I think there is a way to, especially with the. We have to remember this is the Giants. Their GM at the end of the day isn't the brightest people. I mean, I don't know if everyone's seen that clip of his son basically telling him,
Begging him.
begging him to draft Jaden Daniels, and it was just kind of funny. I know it's just like it might not mean anything, but it was just kind of funny. Like I said, the Giants aren't the smartest organization. These type of organizations, you have to take advantage of them. And I feel like with the Raiders, especially with Tom Brady and Pete Carroll now there, it's going to be harder to try to snake extra out of them. I feel like with the Giants, it's more possible. So if I was them, I'd try to push that through and then try to, if that doesn't work, then try to work with the Raiders and then see what happens.
Yeah, my thing was the Raiders. To me, it's just a perfect fit, man. Like I was looking at it
Yeah,
earlier.
fit wise, yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they haven't won a playoff game since 2002. They got that
Yeah, I
big new
mean,
stadium.
they need to
They
reset
I,
their franchise. So yeah.
they need to win as soon as possible,
Yeah.
especially with Max Crosby on the edge of okay, do I want to stay here? But he wants to compete. So you probably
Yeah.
could lose Max Crosby, and so I think they would. It's like if they give up, I think it's more of a possibility. Just me personally, that they would give up the 6, just because the 6 range for them, you can't get a QB in that range. You're not going to get Cam Ward. You're not going to get Shador in that range. You're not going to get Travis. So maybe you can go Will Campbell if you want to get
Well,
the left tackle of the future.
I think it is definitely more possibility that it would be the Raiders because it is like the 6th pick versus the 3rd pick, and obviously a 3rd pick you
Yeah,
get a QB, right? Like you were saying. I was just
yeah.
saying more of like what the Rams should do. The Rams should try to push the Giants as
The
much as they.
best deal, the
Yeah,
best deal that you could get is the Giants deal because
yeah.
that's a
I would.
third pick, and you
If
can
I
do
was
just
them,
so much stuff.
that is something I would try to push because that is rare for
Yeah,
for
that's
like
rare.
for a 37-year-old QB who's on the fringe of retirement, getting a top 3 pick is unheard of. And if
That's
the
probably why I
Giants,
think. That's why I think it's not gonna happen though, just because
yeah, it's
it's
probably
so.
not. It's probably not,
Yeah.
but I would still try to push it. It is okay if it doesn't happen because we pivot to the Raiders, and I think the Raiders would
So,
do it.
but which one are
Like
we
you
gonna
said.
do?
If I was to do it, I would push for the Giants pick.
No,
I
but
mean,
like
it's
which one? Realism included, and kind of like
realism.
It's the Raiders. Though. It's Raiders.
Realism is probably Raiders. Yeah, if we're talking about realism, I mean, that makes the most sense. I mean,
so. We're
it's not
talking
like I don't.
about. Let's build
Yeah,
this out. I got a little thing set up for us.
it's not like the Giants
Mhm.
isn't possible, but most likely scenario is the Raiders.
Let
Yeah.
me finish building this out real quick, and then we will get to talking about this. I'll have some extra spots for this. We can.
Yeah. Speaking of the Browns, like, there's no way. I mean, do we forget what contract Deshaun Watson's on?
Yeah,
You're gonna take on
Yes.
Stafford as
it's not
well.
gonna happen.
They're not gonna have any cap space.
All right, so
Their
here's a
entire
couple.
cap space is gonna
Here's
be
a
those
couple
two
trade
guys.
windows that I got for us. Let's do the Raiders trade. Let's discuss what both groups are sending. Let me make this a little prettier and easier to maneuver here. All right, now we have another spot here for a cup trade, but this is it for now. Let's discuss Stafford. What else are we trading these guys?
26th first round.
26.
Let me make sure these are aligned properly. Okay. So number 26 pick. And what, a third rounder?
Yeah, probably
Third round.
third
comp.
the comp for Raheem.
And then we get number 6. Let's go look at Tankathon real quick and see where they sit. So they have number 6, and they have.
I doubt they give us their second. They might give us a third in return.
Well, then why would we give them a comp then? Is Stafford just worth the difference between those picks?
Yeah,
That's what I would
like I just want to see what the Raiders have. See if maybe we could.
I can't go to the second round. I would assume.
You
They
might
have
have to
the
pull
6.
up.
Huh?
You might have to. Yeah, I'm assuming they have the 6. I mean, I doubt they have different.
I
pick.
could.
There we go.
I could pull
Their
it
pick is
Right
probably
here,
the
37th. 37th.
37.
So
Yeah, I doubt they give us 37.
They might give us their third possibly.
well, then we would just
Yeah.
take out the third and call this even.
Yeah. Or they give next year's second.
That does feel like it's probably a more
Yeah.
realistic option.
That seems more realistic.
So 2026 second
yeah.
round.
Second.
2026
Yeah.
second round again.
That seems doable, I think.
You got to think about it, right? They think they can win next year, right, with Stafford. So they're assuming, oh, that second round pick's going to be a later pick, so it's better value for that.
Yeah.
So makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll black these out and we'll call that a trade.
All right, I'm spamming that. Yes, by the way, if you're wondering,
Yeah.
it's not even a question.
Okay, so that deal's been accepted by the Raiders. We no longer have a quarterback. Matthew Stafford is off, and we have extra picks now.
So that's some bet it's going to start next year, guys.
What do you guys think about the Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams deal? $27 million for the pair.
I mean, it's literally a steal.
Yeah, you do it. You do it. I don't know how the deal would look, but you do it.
I mean, it's $10 million for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, 41. Yeah, sure, but you think about it, right? We already talked about it. I'm not going to go over it again, but in this offense, and he's motivated as well. And then with Devontae, like only at 17 million, it's. I mean, come on. It's just a no-brainer. And then on top of that, like you have a 6th round pick, and whether or not how the draft falls, you either, if you want to, I'll be honest with you, I don't think they would trade forward, and I feel like some teams won't be willing to, but we'll see. Anything could happen. They'll probably trade back. I assume that, try to get some extra picks, and probably try to go after a quarterback next year. Unless they go the route of trying to get like a Jackson Dart or get Roman Gabriel in the late 1st or 2nd. But we'll see.
I'm making a little table for us to do signings. Go ahead and keep talking.
Okay, no, you could see. I was thinking about it. 6 is a little bit too early. I was thinking about because you could go Tyler Warren at tight end because he's probably going to go top 10.
Nah, nah, I don't buy that.
Uh,
I
yeah,
think that's a reach for him. Yeah.
or the super reach. It's not a super reach, but or you can just say, listen, we're going to go all offense. You go get Ashton Genty and just say we're going to have
Oh, yeah, that's
we're going to
possible.
do
Yeah.
it. We're going to have Ashton Genty in the backfield and don't have Aaron Rodgers, and then we're finna just go for it offensively. Then in free agency, we're going to just build the secondary up, get a linebacker, maybe some cheap D linemen, then you're just going to run it out like that.
Or they could
That'd be dope.
move back a couple of spots, and if
You
maybe
still might get Genty. You still could get Genty.
yeah,
if
you
you
might
move
still
back.
get Genty
Yeah,
there, and on top of that, you probably
yeah.
you get an extra second and some other picks, like a second and third at least.
Yeah, we
Yep,
definitely
they can
have
get
some options now.
so many options. If you get
I mean,
6, bro, so many options.
if people are wondering, that's my main point. Just the draft capital we could get to set us up for the future. It's such a golden opportunity. Like I don't like
Mhm.
we're not going to get this opportunity again. So you just have to take advantage of it and try to push it as much as you can. Look, if it doesn't happen, so be it. But at least you tried to push it. Like that's the main thing.
Mhm.
You tried to push the trade, and I'm sure they're doing that because obviously they don't want to pay Stafford that $70 million per year contract. It's absurd.
I
Yeah.
hope they don't.
All right, boys, I got it ready to go. Signings. Oh,
Yeah.
let me change title. So signings. Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
2 years, 20 million. You know what? Let's give him 25, and we'll just do 10 this year, 15 next year.
Yeah, maybe it's there's some like options, whatever.
Average is 12 and a half. Yeah, we could have some options too. Devontae Adams.
Yep.
Okay. And we'll do 2 years, 35 million even.
I know Joe's loving that, by the way, the Devontae Adams.
I know he
thing.
is.
I've been wanting Devontae Adams for years.
Bro, that'd be oh my god, bro.
For years.
So we'll push a little bit of this money forward, but we got $27 million done. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and Horns. Receiver position done. We don't have to pay $35 million to T. Higgins. Like,
nope.
We're set. So let's go back to our depth chart now. We have Aaron Rodgers solidified, and then wide receiver 2 is Devontae Adams.
By the way, for backup for QB, it's gonna probably be
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Hold on. We might draft a guy. We'll hit that when we get to the bridge.
Possibly, but I feel like they're probably gonna re-sign him. But we'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
Okay, so trade 1 done. Trade 2. We're talking about Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp. Now, by the way, a development came up today this morning, and me and Ethan, we kind of had a small discussion about it. Jonathan Allen is up is on the trade block, or he's seeking a trade.
And the Commanders are one of the teams that have been pushing for Cooper Kupp.
And I don't know if Ethan, if you have his, if you want to, you can pull up his contract if we look at it quickly. But it's not really it's actually a pretty cheap deal. And on top of that, he's on the last. What I mean by cheap is that it's not going to affect us, let's say, long term, because it is the last year of his deal, and you can easily work around it.
So let me explain what we're looking at here. His cap hit is $22.3 million this season, but a lot of that's already been paid out. And we could also just demand that they pay out the roster and the GM bonuses. Let's see, 2025. It doesn't even say when the bonuses are paid out, but $15.5 million essentially would be on the hook for. Jonathan Allen is an elite defensive tackle. Let's take a look at his Pro Football Reference page. He was hurt last year, but you're talking about a guy who basically 3 years straight, 2 Pro Bowls, double-digit tackles for loss, a ton of QB hits. He's not a big sack guy, but he's a big QB hit guy and a big pressure guy. 30 QB hits is crazy, guys. Like, let's put that into like some real perspective.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he primarily played nose for the Commanders.
No, he plays 3 and 5. No, Daron Payne is the nose tackle for.
Oh, I got them mixed up then.
Okay. I mean, you just put Kobe in nose. I just put Kobe in nose.
Yeah. Kobe's already proven he could. That's what we were talking about earlier. Is Kobe playing nose, Jonathan playing 5 tech, Fisk playing 3, and then the beauty of it all is all 3 of them can play all 3 positions realistically. You're not going to put Jonathan Allen and Braden Fisk at the nose full time, but they rotated in their.
They can rotate.
Yeah. So you have that versatility, the same versatility you have at receiver, where all 3 guys can play deep, slot, and X, you're talking about 3 D linemen who can play all over. And then when you want to do a 4 down, you can actually take Byron off the field, and then you have Jonathan Allen, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, and Jared Verse. That 4 D line grouping is insane. Like, and then when you play 5 down, you have Byron Young, Jared Verse at the edges, then Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, and Jonathan Allen at the 5 tech. So I don't know, Joe. What do you think? Trade if Cooper Kupp, if there's a lot of interest of Cooper Kupp going to the Commanders, do we just do a player swap?
I mean, the Commanders want to get rid of him. They want to get out that cap.
Yep.
We would most likely, since they want to get rid of cap, we would most likely have to pay some of Cooper Kupp's salary.
That's gonna happen either way, I think. So
yeah.
Let me see how that breaks down. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, why would we trade for a D lineman? We're okay there." But it's like we're talking about trading for Myles Garrett. We're talking about trading for Jonathan Allen's not on that level, but he's an elite interior D lineman, guys. Like he's legit. So with Cooper Kupp, you're talking about having to eat probably what does the roster bonus do? The roster bonus is due by the 3rd. Probably eating the roster bonus. So you're not going to save a ton that way. Let's see. If you traded him, yeah, it would be
You probably
this.
save $4 or $5 million.
It would be this scenario right here. So you would save about $5 million, and then you're paying Jonathan Allen $10 million. Jonathan Allen for $10 million is kind of a steal.
Yeah, that's my main point. Is that he's not going to be cheap.
And that's if we eat.
I mean,
because we might, I don't know. I mean, I know the Commanders want to shed salary, but then you're talking about getting Cooper Kupp for $20 million. That's still not a bad deal at all for them. They're already talking about it. But let's just say we eat it and we save $5 million. That's not bad.
I do that easily.
I do that trade.
It makes sense.
I mean, the Rams fans also have to also remember, like we said, right? We can't. It's gonna have to be a player swap if we do this trade. We can't get an extra pick because of the restrictions with Kupp's salary, and we're most likely gonna have to take a chunk of that. So,
I mean, this doesn't feel like a leap to me. We're talking about the
leap, though,
Commanders.
yeah.
The Commanders want Cooper
It's
Kupp.
not a leap.
The
No.
Commanders want to trade Jonathan Allen, and we're seeing the opportunity to bolster an already dominant D line into being. I mean, you're talking about this being a top 3 unit next year, guaranteed. Not just again. Jonathan Allen is like he's a run stopping savant. You're talking about tackles for loss for days, QB hits for days. This guy pressures up the middle. He still gets sacks. He's not a guy who doesn't get sacks. He still gets sacks. He gets a lot of tackles. This guy kind of transformed your ability to stop the run. You're talking about Bobby Brown being a sieve in the middle, just letting everything through. Man, this D line would be something special with Jonathan Allen.
Right, because what you want to do is you want to make it to where if the Rams truly can't find a CB1, you want to make it to where you don't have to have elite corners in the back end that you could. Okay, we can't find a CB1. We got to wait maybe a couple years to find one. So let's just get some cheap vets in the secondary, maybe find a nice middle guy, but let's make our defensive line elite.
Finish up.
No, I was done. You good?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week that we invest into the front 7. We already pretty much the entire core of the front 7 is set. I mean, obviously we add like a Jonathan Allen and also another guy. I mean, we'll get into it, but there was a report saying that the Rams have interest in Zach Bond. You add a guy like Zach Bond, and this is me assuming like the Aaron Rodgers scenario plays out, by the way, because you'll have the extra money. You'll have the extra money. So that's just a reminder. If we do that, we get Zach Bond, we get Jonathan Allen with that great front 7. Listen.
So look. Let me just show you guys.
It's gonna be scary hours.
This is 2021. 2021. Jonathan Allen was 6th in QB hits. We're not talking about chump change, guys. We're talking about like an insane pressure QB hit threat up the middle. Think about how many times quarterbacks escape sacks from the pressure on the edge from Fisk or Verse because the pressure up the middle was non-existent and the quarterbacks had tons of space to move around. This is like this gives you a complete D line that's like virtually unstoppable, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
And just a lot of fans out there hearing us say these big names and be like, man, we're gonna have a super team, blah blah. The best thing a team always does, and the Chiefs did it. So many teams do it. If all your elite players on rookie contracts during that time, you go all in as best as you can. You don't want to mess up your future and be in cap hell like the Saints, anything like that. But you want to go into the best of your ability to the safest point you can while these elite players on their rookie contracts. Because once it's time to pay them,
Yep.
you're not going to be able to get as many big names as you can at this moment.
And then you're talking about getting Jonathan Allen. By the way, not only are you getting Jonathan Allen for $15 million this season, you're getting out of his contract after this year.
On top of
And then Cup's
that's
contract is gone, so we're saving money.
that's my main point. Like, if we're thinking about cap hell, this is the last year of his contract. So
Mhm.
and on top of that, look, if we do want to re-sign him, he's not. He already signed his big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
His
Because
second,
he's 30.
his third, his. I mean,
You see this though?
honestly,
Tackles for loss 10th. I mean, like the dude is a beast.
his third deal is gonna be significantly cheaper. It's not gonna be like.
I
20
mean,
million
hey,
a
and
year or
maybe
whatever.
we bring him in and we say, hey, we want to move your cap forward a little bit. We'll give you an extra
Yeah.
year
Exactly,
and
you
a little
can-
extra cash to move your cap forward because, again, most of our impact players next season are under their rookie contracts.
You could just push
Mhm.
that money forward and add extra void years as well. Like the one thing the Rams they know how to do is they know how to manipulate the cap. They've been doing that for years. Les and Cole,
Mhm.
they're masters of manipulating the cap. So it's not an issue at all. Like
So
Hey, let's do it.
we're doing it. I think it's a no-brainer to me. It makes
oh for
so
sure,
much
let's
sense.
do it, man. Like for what we're trying to build as well, like a physical front, like it's a perfect scheme fit.
We have the Commanders, and they're sending us Jonathan Allen.
Yep, just a clean swap.
Okay, so let's go back
Maybe,
to our depth
maybe,
chart.
Yep.
maybe some picks might be added in, maybe like some fifths or something.
Yeah, something
man,
minuscule.
That's
Although
fine.
I think it's a pretty fair swap. I think Cup's worth.
Yeah, it is.
You know what? No, let's give them something. Let's give them a sixth, because
Yeah, I mean that's
he
fine.
probably has a little bit more value than he does at the moment.
I mean, that's not an issue. Sometimes that little extra pick, makes teams feel good. So yeah, just
Mhm.
throw it in there.
All right, so done deal. Let's go back to our depth chart. Now we're moving Kobe Turner to the nose tackle position, and for DE2 we're putting Jonathan Allen.
Yep.
And at this point, we call Byron Young square.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
You just
set in
keep 'em.
stone. Because
And
of that, yeah,
look at that
it's
D
not
line,
possible
boys.
to get
That
a
D line
top guy.
is sexy.
It's insane.
And then you just look. You have Tyler Davis. Bring back. I mean, if they want to, like Neville Gallimore, or in the draft, you just add extra depth. I mean, look, like our D line is set. It's
Okay,
simple as that.
And then let's go take a look at the Rams team. We've given away 10 million in cap space, so we have 51. Or we have 39 right now. We lost 10 million from the Jonathan Allen trade. Although, do you guys want to extend this dude and give him
I
one
was
more
gonna,
year?
I was gonna say this. Does that because didn't they increase the salary cap this year?
They did.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
I don't think it's updated. I think we
Yeah,
would have around like
because that says
50, like
that's
4 or 51 million.
241.
No,
Yeah, I think
275 right here. See,
Okay, so it would be.
it's already taking off money for rookies and dead cap. I think is why it's like that. It's like
okay.
it's an adjusted
see.
cap.
Okay, I see. All right.
But so 20. So let's go back to our spreadsheet, and we're gonna extend Jonathan Allen for 1 year. So we're gonna give him a 2-year deal. He's got 15 million on the books already, and we're gonna give him 2 years. Let's give him 2 years. What, 30 million? 15 million a season is pretty decent for a guy of his caliber.
That's fair.
Yeah, is that the rate going?
I mean, he's older. Let's take a look at.
He's older, and it's a second. So it's not like that 20. It's not. Yeah. I mean, if you see here, it's not like that upper echelon because he's already
technically
been paid
defensive
that.
tackle. So you're talking about.
Yeah,
below Dexter Lawrence, Kenny Clark. You're talking more of that like this
Could have been
area.
16,
Grover
15,
Stewart
15.
to.
Ed Oliver,
Remember, he was also
Vita
hurt
Vea,
last year. He was also hurt last year,
Yeah.
and I want to say, yeah, he was hurt. So like that hurts the value a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I think 16 million right under Grady Jarrett. What do you guys think?
I think that's fair. Yeah.
And what
Yeah,
we're
makes
gonna
sense.
do is we're gonna
Yeah.
move. So let's do 32 million. The average is 16 million. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna move a little bit of that forward. So maybe we'll give him 12 million this season, and we'll give him 20 next season. That we'll save 3 million on the cap. We'll still have 32 million in cap space.
But then you add Cup's 5 to it.
No, that's 5 million of savings. Oh, I see what you're saying. So
No, to the cap.
yeah. So what ends up happening is we go from
yeah.
39 to 37 is what we do.
Yeah, because we have
Yeah.
to add Cup's space. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we still have 37 million in cap space according to the moves we've already made. See, that's how you work the cap. You know what? I'm gonna add another row here, and I'm gonna do just so that we are clear on it, and it's gonna be 2025 cap hit. So his cap hit in 20 is gonna be 10 million. His is gonna be 17 million, and his is gonna be 12 million. So just to recap, we've slashed, and we can do this in the actual manage roster section as well. In fact, let's do that. We also made some other maneuvers, so let's put everything in here so we have an idea where we're
Yeah,
at.
I think if we show like visibly through like the cap calculator they have, it's probably a better visual.
Let's see, create trade. We're gonna trade Stafford. Trade with. Oh, we're not getting anything back, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so he's been traded. Cooper Kupp, we're gonna create trade. Trade with the Commanders. And we're gonna get Jonathan Allen. Process that trade. Now he's gonna be a little bit more expensive. It's not gonna let us do anything additional. Why is Kupp still on our books here?
You didn't trade him. Wait, hold up. What? Did you select Cup?
Oh, I guess I didn't. Here, let me undo and do that again. Create trade. Oh, Kupp, and then. Oh, he's gone now.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
Hold on.
You might try to refresh to just refresh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe refresh it and just do it again. Yeah. Just
Okay, so trade Stafford, and we're just done.
The only thing about it, it's not gonna make it a post. It's not gonna make the Stafford thing a post June 1.
No, it
So
did. I
it
think
gives us cap.
it did.
No, it gave us $65 million in cap.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh,
We had 39. Remember?
Okay,
So
yeah.
yeah.
yeah, I'm sure.
Trade with the Commanders. Give me Jonathan Allen.
There we go.
There we go.
there we go. Yeah.
That's just a 68. That's what we were expecting. Now sign free agent.
Yeah. Rogers and
He's not going to be on the list yet. So let's just grab a
Yeah.
quarterback
Yeah.
of some sort. Let's
Grab
grab a.
somebody random.
We'll just grab a receiver. 2 years. Total value is, what do we say? It was going to be 30.
it's like
6
30
million. And then signing bonus, we'll do 20 million. It's a pretty decent one. Cap hit. Oh, the base. So no, we want to give him more money base. We'll give him. No, we'll give him 7 million. So it's 17 million cap hit. Sign player, and then you guys see a quarterback anywhere? It doesn't really matter. I just would rather. There we go. Sam Darnold. Sign. Contract 2 years. And it's going to be a $20 million contract. Signing bonus. We'll give him $10 million. And base salary will have to be $5 million. $10 million. Okay. Boom. That's done. Now we have
43 mil.
43 mils what we have left over after making those moves. Now,
Hey,
hold
that's-
on. We also were talking about Jonah.
Oh yeah, and
just getting
Jonah
straight.
Jackson.
Do we want to
Yeah,
trade or cut Jonah? Let's trade him.
Possibly a possible trade. Yeah.
Let's just trade him and we'll do for nothing. It's just
Yeah, I mean, if we
Mhm.
couldn't trade him, if we're speaking with the Rams, we'll move
Yeah.
on from him. It would
I mean,
probably
even a
just be cut.
six is worth it. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, 6 is fine. I mean, the main thing is just getting his salary off the books.
And
That's
we
what
were
it
gonna
is.
cut Colby, right?
You cut
Colby,
Kyren,
yeah,
Colby.
we're gonna cut him. Yeah.
So Colby's gone. Kyren is. We'll just do a quick trade for nothing. Get a 7th for him. Someone would give us a 7th for him.
Yeah.
So now we're at $52 million in cap space. So, is there anyone else we decided we wanted to cut? I'm trying to remember from this list.
No, I think that was it.
I think that
Quentin
was
Lake.
it.
You want to cut Quentin Lake? Did we cut Quentin Lake?
No,
I
we
think
didn't.
I think we put him on
And
the
then
bench.
also, realistically, they're not gonna cut.
I want
Yeah,
them
we
to-
just had him on
Does
the
that make a
bench.
difference? Okay. So as of right now, we're sitting at 53 million dollars in cap space. So let's just add this here. So 53 million. So we'll keep track of that. And this is what we got. I mean, we're talking about getting cap space and adding these 3 players. That's a freaking solid start to this thing.
I mean, that's
Super solid.
I mean, it's honestly, I think it's a great start because
Mhm.
you manipulated the cap. You got 3 great players in return. On top of that, you got your draft capital with the Stafford trade, and you have $53 million left over to spend on extra free agents like corner if you want to, linebacker, etc.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good start. Is there anything else that we want to discuss doing offensively?
Did we address?
I mean,
left tackle. Left tackle.
So
yeah,
here's
left tackle.
I'm leaning towards Jedrick Wills at left tackle.
Do you have the list again? I kind of forgot some names.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I had it up. Here you go.
Here you go.
Unless, I mean, look, we've already made 2 trades. You guys think we make a 3rd trade?
No,
No,
I'm leaning either Wills because he'd be cheaper, or we go out and get like a star left tackle and Ronnie Stanley. I would say
if
either or. That's if
I'm
he
being-
if he doesn't resign with Baltimore, of course. But yeah.
if I'm being 100% for real, like 100% serious, if we end up with around 47 to 53 million dollars in cap, I'm 75-80% sure Alark is gonna be back. AJ is most likely gonna be back because I think they're comfortable with AJ, and I think they like AJ, and I think they take priority in continuity. So I'll probably say AJ would be back if I'm just being realistic.
My issue is how much stock they maybe put into, because when you're talking about versatility, right? Offensive versatility, and Alaric had to be one of the most helped left tackles in football. When you have a running back and a tight end who has to chip every play almost, that's hurtful for the idea and the concept of versatility.
It could be, but my issue is if it's Ronnie Staley, if he's there. But I've seen because I'm not a Baltimore fan, but I love Lamar Jackson, so I always follow some Baltimore guys, and they're adamant that the front office is pushing to keep Ronnie Staley. So if he's off the board, because I think Ronnie Staley is easily plug and play, but if he's off the board, and I don't know if I would bring in a left tackle doesn't have chemistry with our O line, especially with Aaron Rodgers back there. I don't know if I would be willing to risk and do that. I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle between a Lark and maybe
I think
his
it's the
Ronnie, of
main
course. I don't
thing
know.
for us, as we discussed about this before, is the contract. If Alari's contract is around that $50 million range, then it's okay. But if and what I think he's going to demand is 20 to 25 million, I think that's just a overpay. Like at that point, we should go after a guy like Jedrick, who's going to be cheaper as well.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now as well. As I just think Alaric's going to price himself out of what we're willing to pay. The worst thing you can do is way overpay for someone. You know,
No,
especially someone like
100%.
Yeah, I
Alaric,
think
who's really he doesn't have a
I
proven
think
track record. He's just really been.
I'll be honest with you. I feel like I'm not saying they're the same player, but I can see like the same like type of process. Maybe they're viewing it as a Joe Noteboom situation. Look, I'm not saying they're the same player, but not willing to overplay, that said left tackle as they paid Noteboom and Alaric. What I mean by over, like obviously he's going to get significantly more than Noteboom. Like I said, $20-25 million range. And I feel like teams who are desperate for a tackle, I've heard like I've been, I follow like the Cowboys, pretty decent amount. I've heard on the radio that they've mentioned that they have interest in Alaric and that they're willing to pay him around the $25 million range. So, and that's from like a former Cowboy scout who has like a lot of connections. So I don't know. I'd rather not. And I just see other teams are gonna probably approach him and give him that money, and we just move in that another
Well,
direction.
so like
Yeah.
Joe,
That's
here's
how
the thing to think about, right? Is
Yeah.
if you're talking about, it seems positive that the Ravens are going to re-sign Ronnie Stanley. Then
Yeah.
Alaric Jackson is the next. He's the best left tackle on the open market.
Yeah.
And
Yes, my thing is it's just because I'm just nervous about you add a new quarterback, you add a new receiver number two,
That's valid.
and
Yeah.
That's fair.
it's
Yeah.
like if their left tackle is not locked in, it could go really bad
Yeah,
fast.
that's true. Yeah.
So that's
Like I
just my
said,
thing
it's
about
just for me. It's the contract that worries me. Maybe we can push it to like 17 million.
it.
We could push it up there, but it's just I just don't want to overpay the guy.
I don't
That's
see
I
just
him.
agree though.
I don't see him going for less than 22 million. That's the top left tackle
Yeah.
on the market.
Yeah.
I agree with your assessment that Ronnie Stanley gets re-signed by the Ravens, and then
Yeah, I think that's our main reason. Like I said, I mentioned like the Cowboys, and this is from a trusted source as well. Like this guy, he knows what he's talking about. I don't know if you guys know Brian Broaddus. You've heard of him before.
Mm-mm.
He used to like
No.
back in the '90s. He used to work with the Cowboys as a scout. He's worked with other teams. Like he has trusted sources, so he's not going to BS this. And I see it. Like I mean, we mentioned it. He's based off what the evaluation is of Alaric, and I think he's viewed highly around the league. It's going to be around that $20 to $25 million range. It'll probably be around $25 million because some team will overpay him and will pay that price. That's where I'm out. Like
I think Wills
I
can
don't
be
know.
had for 14 or 15
Yeah.
million.
Yeah. Willis. That's my reasoning for Willis. Yeah, he is gonna. He's gonna be. He is. I mean, I think there is a better talent there because he was a former first overall pick, and I feel like he's dealt with some injuries that's kind of hindered him.
Yeah.
But you sign him on that prove it deal, like a 2 year deal, whatever, 2 3 year deal, whatever. He plays well, performs well, and he's already getting plugged in, by the way, into a great system. Ryan
Great
Wendell
system.
has implemented a fantastic O-line system, so I wouldn't think it would be difficult to integrate
Remember,
him.
Joe, he's
On
only
top of that,
25.
yeah, and on top of that, he's not a bum. Like this is a talented guy. He was drafted in the first round for a reason.
10th overall pick. He's 25 years old still.
6'4".
Long, lanky. Let's.
Are you guys confident? Are you guys confident that he can come in and block?
I'm
like, not
confident
block, but-
that in this system with Wendell and Avila next to him, he could be a legit top 10
Yeah,
left tackle.
yeah. In this system, he can. I think he'll get integrated well. Like it's
Okay, because I didn't watch the Browns. Didn't watch the Browns much at all. I haven't watched the Browns much at all since
I haven't watched the
first year
Browns
of the Sun.
recently,
So
but I know from when he came into the league, his first couple of years, he was pretty great.
He
When
was
their
pretty
O-line
good.
was, and that was when, by the way, the Browns O-line was intact as well.
Yeah, and look, he's had back-to-back injuries.
The last
man,
2
he could be a
years,
steal.
the last 2 years, the Browns O line has been injury prone, has been shaky. So, and he's getting slotted. Like we said, I mean, it's kind of repetitive, but he's getting slotted into an already great system, an already great O line with guys that will help him as well.
I'm actually thinking we mirror this Walker Little signing because you're talking about a guy who's had back-to-back injuries, and his value is kind of at an all-time low right now. To be honest.
Well, by the way, that Teron Armstead deal is a steal, bro.
Yeah.
That is 12 million per year. That's absurd. That
So
guy was like that guy was a top 2 left tackle last
So
year.
we have to make a decision. Do we pay Wills at 14 million a season, or do we pay Alaric Jackson at like 22, 23, 22 and a half, let's say.
I mean, I'm nervous, but we can go ahead. We can do Judge Wills.
Yeah, I'm probably leaning more towards Wills. Yeah.
So if we give him just a two, what do you think? Approve it or a 3-year?
Prove it. I probably would go prove it.
Prove
Two
it.
year?
There could be an option for a 3, but I would say a prove it deal.
So 2 years, and we're talking 28 million cap average of 14 million, and then a cap hit of what? I say we just pay him 14.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna be something around that. Yeah.
And if he shows us that he could be, like you said, top 10 left tackle, then in the offseason we talk about a bigger extension.
Yeah, and if he's bad, we
Yeah.
have almost no dead cap to
Yeah,
cut him.
and that's the thing, right? If he is like bad, he does underperform, we can easily move on from it. That is
Mhm.
another thing.
So that now gives us Jedrick Wills here, and we'll just put our cap space at 39 million again.
Yeah. I guess like starters, that's offense done, right?
Yeah, I'll probably. I mean, we're gonna talk about the draft later. I would draft.
Yeah,
him.
I feel like some of these other like
Sure, sure.
receiver depth, we could like sign a guy like we talked about a Mac Collins, like other guys possibilities, like but QB backup QB, like we said, maybe Jimmy G, but they could also draft a guy, like we said.
Right now, honestly, I'm leaning a trade down and then drafting a corner. Like that just makes the most sense for us.
That does make a lot of sense. Yeah.
You pick up
so
some.
we can, 'cause- yeah, we can. You can draft a running back in the third that you like.
You don't need to go out if obviously this is a different discussion as well, and I guess we can talk. Actually, I'm gonna bring it up now. It's kind of I feel like the reason why nothing's really happened with it is because of the Stafford and Cup situation. So
Yeah.
I'm like a little bit teetering on it, but if when the Stafford and Cup situation gets resolved and Kyron Williams, nothing happens there, I'm gonna get a bit concerned. I'll
Yeah.
just say that. But,
No, that's fair. So it looks
But
like
yeah,
we're probably gonna have to cut this video into 2 different pieces. So this could be
Yeah,
part
most
1. How much more do you guys want to do here? Do you guys want to call it here? Just have a shorter video, and then do a part 2 next week.
Yeah,
I mean, we did some good work.
I think
Is
yeah, I
offense
think,
is offense all fleshed? Is offense fleshed out?
We still need some backup
It's
guys and some
I mean, if
stuff,
we,
but
if
yeah.
you want, we can. If you want, we can quickly discuss some like depth options.
Yeah, let's discuss
Yeah.
some depth
Yeah,
options.
we can do that.
So like our needs, we had some depth receiver options, which I think we would do through the draft.
I didn't start a backup. I feel like is more of a draft thing. We already discussed that.
Yes,
Just
because
not
we're not
really
gonna
options there.
make another trade.
No.
Um,
Free agency is weak for the tight end class.
Okay, let's do a backup guard. We talked about that. In fact, I already have a guy in mind. I say we just go get Will
Call him
Hernandez.
Shelton. Or Will Hernandez.
I say we get
Yeah.
Will for cheap, man. I'm talking
Honestly,
like
yeah. Will Hernandez he's been a starting guard for most of his career, and as like a backup swing tackle, that's a great deal. Yeah.
Mhm.
And we
we'll do
that's the
2
thing,
million,
I don't.
and we can just get rid of him if he doesn't work out.
Speaking of like depth.
Oh no, we'll do. Sorry, not 2. I meant
Speaking
4.
of depth, like I do not want to have this situation happen again.
Yeah,
It's happened to us multiple times where our guys get hurt. It happened to us in 2022, and then it happened to us to the beginning of this past season where guys got hurt, and then we have to just plug in some pretty awful like backups. Like we need to have guys who, when they get plugged in case an injury happens, they can at least do their job for a game or 2. So yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's unless we want to get a backup receiver, which
I mean, backup receiver, like I said, it could be Mac Hollins, Tim Patrick.
I actually
not-
like the idea of getting Tim Patrick for
Yeah.
cheap.
Tim Patrick
Yeah,
would be a great
He
backup.
a deep,
yeah.
he a deep threat. Yeah, we'll go
He
through
can do a
that.
little bit of everything. Tim can.
Yeah, I mean, you can rotate him in and out as well.
Because we could still draft guys, right? You guys want to give Tim Patrick a small deal, maybe like 2 years, 8 million.
Yeah, either they do that or they just draft someone like in the
You know what? Let's just hold off on that. I think we kind of want to.
yeah.
That's a
We
lot
can
of
hold
moves
off,
already. The offense feels.
I think that if we're being because we have to kind of be realistic. If we go this route, we already made like multiple moves. They probably just draft someone like They do a whole Jordan Whittington over again in Puka Nakua. Like, they just do that again.
So we got Jonathan
We can, al-
Allen.
and we can always come back to the depth chart once we do the draft.
Yeah, we
Sure.
can come back to
That
it for
and,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
That's amazing idea.
That's a good start to
Hey,
the.
that's a good start, man. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a
Aaron
good
Rodgers,
start.
Devontae Adams.
So what do we think about this
Devontae Adams,
offense?
Jonathan
Now we
Allen.
have nothing as far as because we said there's no starting running backs available. So
Mhm.
do you guys want to sign a running back or you want to just draft one? I think
Draft,
drafting.
I'd rather, if we make these moves, I'd rather just draft one.
Okay, so then we'll probably need to sign a receiver, but we can do that later. We
Yeah,
got
we can
Aaron
do
Rodgers, Blake Corum, Puka Nakua, Devontae Adams, Jordan Whittington. As of right now, Tyler Higbee, Jedrick Wills, Steve Avila, Bill Limmer, Kevin Dotson, Rob Havenstein. That's a pretty good starting offense.
Hey, that's an offense. On top of Jonathan Allen on the D line.
So,
100%.
all right, guys, we're going to call that part one, rebuilding the offense. We did free agency and trades for that. Next week, we're going to knock out the defensive side of the ball, doing some more signings, no more trading. I think we've traded ourselves out here.
Yeah.
And then we'll start preparing for the draft, watching a lot of film and breaking down a lot of the draft prospects to figure out who would be best in Horns next year to help us compete for a title and rebuild.
Yes, and hopefully next week we have some Stafford or Cooper Cup news.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we should. I think yeah, next week it should happen.
And if we do get more news, we can always make adjustments to this and
Yeah.
go from there. But guys, we appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back next week with another episode. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys think about our moves so far and our progress on kind of retooling the Rams and preparing for the future all in one maneuver. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys next episode.
Take care, y'all.
Peace.